What is your stance as the commissioner of the SEC on conferences that won't play as many games as you, raising their hands and saying we want somebody with maybe 5 games, 6 games? Big Ten and Wisconsin leaves to mind because of COVID. They've only played twice. They've yet to play a team that's ranked. What would be your stance as the SEC commissioner about one of those teams saying they should get one of the 4 spots in the college football playoffs?
My stance is consistent with the selection criteria that's existed, which is we charge that selection committee with looking at the full scope of schedules. And we know back when the Big 12 did not have a championship game, that the reference to every data point being very meaningful. And a league like ours playing 10 conference games in arguably the most rigorous conference schedule of all has great meaning. And if teams play fewer than that, that has to be taken in consideration. And if we're going all the way down to a team, having success with half as many games, the selection committee is going to have a responsibility to fully evaluate the total rigor of a 10-game conference schedule versus those who may be less. And that's an outcome of decision-making, and we were attentive to that as we made medical decisions and start date decisions and moving to a conference-only schedule, which has facilitated our ability to play, and others made those decisions, all of which have implications when we come down to the end of the season.
But taking a template that's been used in the past for right now might not really be operative, Commissioner, to be, to I guess, parry with you here on this front. And I've been pounding the table here about expanding the college football playoffs this year. I mean, baseball, as we know, expanded its playoffs. The NFL has a plan to expand its playoffs should cancellations bring that about. We saw what the NBA and the NHL did about its playoffs. Totally different because of the year. Why not expand your playoffs? Let more teams in this year and take the pressure off the committee in that regard, and also maybe give more football games to everybody. What about that idea?
Well, a few reasons. One is the more you add, when we're living it now, the more potential you have for disruption. We also have other postseason opportunities that remain important. We have the ability to conduct healthy competition, which we've demonstrated, but the more and more and more you add on, the more likely you are not to reach that finish line, which I referenced earlier. And there are limits on there are limits on the number of games in which participants can play. So we have some teams that by the time they play a championship game will play 12 total college football games. Mm-hmm. Are we going to add more and more? Where are we going to do that? And when are we going to do that? Are all complexities that have guided us back, and I think in a well-informed way, to maintain the 14 playoff. That doesn't mean it's not debatable. That doesn't mean everyone agrees. But I'm of the view that gives us the best opportunity to still name a national champion, even though we know there's going to be plenty of debate around those decisions.
So basically it's going to be 4 teams, and if you can play it by the date that you can play it, that's it. There's not going to be any changes to anything else. Just get to that finish line the way that you've planned it.
Yeah,
that's basically it?
Yeah. Sure, that's clearly our direction now, but as I acknowledged earlier, you can see debate around those dates that will likely be introduced. We've had a prior conversation about the potential for expansion among the involved commissioners and Jack Swarbrick at Notre Dame as part of the management committee, and agreed that 4 provides us the best opportunity to name a national champion in this environment.